What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic and mysterious structures in all of human history, the Egyptian pyramids. And not just any pyramid, but the mind-blowing Pyramid of Khufu, the last surviving wonder of the ancient world. This thing is absolutely insane, and I can't wait to share all the wild details and theories with you. But first, let's set the stage a bit by talking about pyramids in general. Pyramids are huge structures built by stacking stone or brick in an awesomely simple yet precise way, each level getting smaller and smaller until you have a giant pointed roof on top. Some ancient cultures built them for religious reasons, some for burials, and some, well, we still have no idea why they went through all that trouble. The Egyptian pyramids, though, those were definitely meant as monumental tombs for the pharaohs, the all-powerful rulers of ancient Egypt. And man, did they commit to the whole eternal resting place thing. The pyramids housed the pharaoh's mummified body along with treasures and supplies they'd supposedly need in the afterlife. As you might expect, pyramid construction was an absolutely massive undertaking, both in terms of labor and resources. We're talking millions of heavy stone blocks precisely cut and transported from far away. The oldest archaeologists estimate pyramids like Khufu's required the efforts of tens of thousands of skilled workers over decades. So how did they do it with their relatively primitive tools and technology? That's one of the biggest mysteries surrounding the Egyptian pyramids. There are all kinds of wild theories out there, from sound waves to anti-gravity machines used by ancient aliens. We'll dive into some of those wacky ideas later on. But first, let's take a closer look at the star of today's show, the Pyramid of Khufu, or as it's better known, the Great Pyramid of Giza. This behemoth was constructed around 2500 BCE, making it the oldest of the seven wonders of the ancient world and one of the oldest man-made structures, period, still largely intact. Get this, Khufu's pyramid is estimated to weigh a staggering 6 million tons. It consists of over 2 million limestone and granite blocks, some weighing as much as 80 tons each. The base covers over 13 acres of land, and it's almost 500 feet tall, about as high as a modern 40-story skyscraper. But the builders didn't just make it gigantic, they aligned it with mind-blowing precision. The four sides are perfectly squared to the four cardinal directions, with just a few degrees variance at most. How did they manage this type of accuracy over 4,500 years ago? And if that's not impressive enough, the ratio between the height and perimeter is the same as pi. There's clearly some intense mathematics and astronomy involved here. Just the logistics of construction are enough to make your head spin. Let's do a thought experiment. The Great Pyramid was built with an estimated 2.3 million blocks of stone weighing anywhere from 2.5 to 15 tons each. If we assume an average weight of 5 tons per block, that means the workers had to quarry, transport, and precisely lay over 11.5 million tons of heavy rock. Do you have any idea how insanely difficult that would have been with their resources at the time? They didn't have iron tools, trucks, or machine-powered cranes. Just human labor, ropes, wooden sleds, and ramps. The rocks were carved in quarries using copper chisels and manually drug or rolled tens of miles to the construction site. Once there, teams of hundreds, maybe thousands of workers had to carefully hoist them into place using brute strength and precise planning. And they couldn't even take a break in the nice Egyptian weather. The pyramid was built in intense desert heat with very little water. Yet it still went up row by row, year after year, with incredibly tight joints between each stone. It's a feat of engineering that still baffles modern scientists and architects. So what's going on inside this grand monument? Well, the Great Pyramid contains a series of passages, chambers, and shafts, some of which were only discovered and mapped in modern times using robots and sonar technology. Right in the heart of the structure is the King's Chamber, a stark but precisely constructed granite room that contains nothing but an empty lidless sarcophagus. This is thought to have held the remains of Pharaoh Khufu, though his actual mummy was never recovered. Above the king's chamber are a series of tiny shafts that extend out from the pyramid, aligning perfectly with the night sky during Khufu's reign. Archaeologists think they could have been used for astronomical rituals and observations. The shafts even seem to align with the constellation Orion and the star Sirius at certain points in time. Advanced astronomical and celestial knowledge at work once again. The internal architecture is about as meticulously constructed as the exterior, with advanced techniques like corbelled arches and complicated intersecting hallways and chambers. There are intricate spaces and rooms we still can't decipher the reason for. But that's not even the weirdest part. Throughout all these corridors and side rooms, archaeologists have found strange and unexplained things like mysterious markings, hieroglyphs, and symbols covering the walls, shafts and cavities that seem to serve no structural purpose, strange doors and boxes carved into rooms with apparently no entry, giant granite beams and plugs weighing up to 100 tons carefully wedged in certain places. What was the purpose of all this? Was it just unnecessarily complex architecture for the fun of it, or is there some higher hidden meaning or function we have yet to decipher? Those are the kinds of enigmas that have spawned tons of wild alternative theories about the Great Pyramid's true origins. Let me run through some of the more out there ideas from ancient astronaut theorists, numerologists, and various fringe researchers. First, there's the theory that the pyramid was a massive energy plant capable of generating electromagnetic power. There's pseudo-scientific ideas that it could create and wirelessly transmit electricity for mysterious purposes. Then you have claims that the pyramid's intricate internal geometry allowed it to create altered states of consciousness or interdimensional gateways. Some believe the many shafts and chambers were for psychic transformation. Others think it's a representation of our entire world, the solar system, or even the whole universe encoded in stone. With the mathematical codes built into its dimensions and alignments, some speculate it contains the knowledge and lost history of an ancient advanced civilization. Moving into full ancient aliens territory, there are those who believe the complexity could only have been constructed by some form of highly advanced technology, possibly by aliens or time travelers or beings from another dimension. Those are just a few of the fringe ideas that have popped up to explain what we still don't fully understand about the Great Pyramid's construction and function. I gotta admit, some of those are pretty entertaining to think about even if there's no hard evidence. But based on what we do know from archaeological study and ancient records, the more plausible theories point to it being a highly symbolic monument built through sophisticated geometry, astronomy, and some impressively organized forced labor, a monument to the power and divinity of the Pharaoh Khufu and ancient Egyptian civilization. However, it was built, and for what true purpose, there's no denying the Pyramid of Khufu is an epic technological achievement for its time. Some quick fun facts to put it into perspective. Using modern construction techniques and resources, it's estimated a pyramid of this size would take around 5 years and cost over $5 billion to build. The original smooth outer limestone casing is gone now, but it would have made the entire structure shine brilliantly in the sunlight. There are enough stone blocks in the pyramid to construct a sidewalk 2 feet wide that would wrap around the entire planet. It was the tallest structure on Earth for over 3,800 years until the Eiffel Tower finally eclipsed it in 1889. Pretty mind-blowing, right? And to think it remained the biggest and most impressive construction on the entire planet for nearly 4 millennia. The ancient Egyptians must have had an incredible reverence and level of commitment to pull this off. Of course, the Great Pyramid is just one of many incredible pyramids located in the Giza Pyramid complex on the outskirts of modern Cairo. There's 2 other major pyramids right next door, along with smaller pyramids, temples, the famous Sphinx sculpture, and tons of ancient tombs. This whole area was the necropolis for the ancient Egyptian capital city of Memphis and served as the grand resting place for royalty across multiple dynasties. Just imagine what it must have looked like in its full glory, with the giant Sphinx guarding the Valley Temple and pyramid complex rising up from the desert sand. The Great Pyramid itself was a breathtaking sight, with a sleek polished limestone exterior glistening under the hot Egyptian sun. The original outer casing stones were so precisely cut and fitted together that the joints are barely visible from the ground even today. Can you picture the imposing sense of symmetry and awe it must have inspired? Moving outward, the other two major pyramids at Giza were constructed by Khufu's son Khafre and grandson Menkaure in a neat diagonal alignment. Khafre's pyramid was built at a slightly higher elevation to make it appear bigger, while Menkaure's is noticeably smaller, an ancient family rivalry carved in stone. Surrounding these three behemoths were clusters of smaller pyramids, temples, tombs, valleys, and living quarters that created a full-scale ancient Egyptian city of the dead. It likely required a whole operations and maintenance crew just to keep this necropolis functioning properly. And at the entrance stands the legendary Sphinx, a giant mythical creature with the body of a lion and a human head. This iconic statue is over 60 feet tall and 240 feet long, carved directly from one ridiculously huge piece of limestone. Its deteriorating face is believed to be modeled after Khafre himself, watching over his ultimate final resting place. Just imagining all of this surrounding the even bigger Great Pyramid really gives you a sense of the scale and ambition of the ancient Egyptian civilization. To them, death was not the end. It was literally the prime purpose and main focus of mortal existence. Every resource went into creating these elaborate tombs and temples to prepare and worship the king for his journey into the afterlife. Wild stuff. So there you have it, a deep dive into the Pyramid of Khufu, the most incredible surviving wonder from antiquity. A towering, almost incomprehensible monument to human ingenuity and the cult of the pharaohs in ancient Egypt. Sure, we may never know all the mysteries of how it was built and what some of the more arcane elements were intended for, and the fringe theories about encoded knowledge or energy sources are fun thought experiments but a bit out there. But even with just the basic accepted archaeological facts, the Great Pyramid stands as one of the most monumental and mind-blowing feats of construction in all of human history. It boggles my mind just wrapping my head around the manpower, resources, and engineering required to put it all together over 4,500 years ago. Whether you view this massive undertaking from a historic, scientific, archaeological, or even supernatural angle, the Great Pyramid offers no shortage of questions to ponder. It represents both the pinnacle of ancient human achievement and the limits of our understanding about these early advanced civilizations. Who knows what other secrets about our ancient ancestors are still locked away under the sands of Egypt or coded into the precise geometry and alignments of Khufu's Great Pyramid. One thing is for sure, it has withstood the test of time to become an eternal source of wonder and fascination for all of humanity. So what do you guys think? Does examining the intricate mysteries of the Egyptian pyramids pique your curiosity as much as mine? Have you been to the Giza Plateau in person to experience the majesty and unanswered questions firsthand? I gotta put that on my bucket list for sure. And what are some of your own personal theories or areas of interest surrounding the pyramids and their construction? Drop your thoughts down in the comments and let me know what equally bizarre, wondrous, or simply underrated topics you'd like me to cover next on the channel. There's no shortage of real-world enigmas to explore and discuss, from the ancient world to cutting-edge fields like quantum physics. As always, thanks for joining me in peeling back another fascinating layer of truth that is stranger than fiction. I'll catch you legends on the next mind-expanding video.